know, that was a fun first game for Easton Cowan. It's going to be remembered for all the veterans who couldn't get the job done. Just mid-season pessimism, buddy. That's something. I usually save that for April. Oh my, this guy, you've been doing this a while. Let's go! It starts with an A and ends with anxiety. Off the charts levels of passion. That's just a nightmare. With you wherever you are, welcome to LFR. Leafs, you thought it was going to overtime. Leafs lose 3-2 to the Detroit Red Wings in what will hopefully be the most unnecessary loss of the entire season. Outshooting them 40-15! Coming back from a 2-0 deficit and choking on 1, possibly 2 points in the standings. Well, we're going to talk about this game, the good and the bad, but first, you know what's great? NHL Fantasy Stars, because it's fantasy. It doesn't hurt my feelings and blow it with under a minute to go while I'm there, by the way. Where was it? And NHL Fantasy Stars is a great fantasy app that you can download on the Apple Store and on Google Play. And it's on a link in the description. You know what my mentions have been full of? People saying, boy, it sure looks like the Leafs could use someone on the right wing. You know what? I like my fantasy team a lot, but I could also use someone on the right wing. What pack should I open? A gold, a silver, a base? No, you know what you gotta do? You can actually get a straight up pack of just right wingers. So that's what I'm gonna do. What do we got? Half the price of a gold pack. Let's see what we get. Tyler Toffoli is a good ad. Jordan Eberle is a good ad. Alex Tuck, tough start to the season, but a good ad. I am happy with that. You can take on myself, Adam, and Jesse all season because it's daily contests, so you can play daily and start whenever. The season already started, but you haven't? It's not too late. And right now they got a special offer for the new season, a brand new 10-player pack. You usually only get 3. So download NHL Fantasy Stars from the Apple Store and on Google Play, and from the link in the description down below. Just click it. All right, let's get to it. I would like to thank the Detroit Red Wings for continuing with Operation Make Steve Forget His Dog Died. It hasn't worked yet, but I appreciate the effort all the same. So look, the Leafs are beginning a long homestand here. This is the first game. The Leafs don't really know what they want to do with their lineup. They have a bunch of new faces, and Craig Berube is going to want to shuffle things. Well, it's easier to do that at home, and he does a very bold thing, which is take Easton Cowan from the press box and throw him not only into his first NHL game, but straight onto the first line with Auston Matthews. And when he wasn't with Auston Matthews, he played a couple shifts with John Tavares. There were a lot of things to not like about this game, but Easton Cowan up on the top line with Matthews and Nyes was not one of them. From Arun Srinivasan, Matthew Nyes, Auston Matthews, Easton Cowan, 10-0 on shots, 16-5 shot attempts, 80.3% share of expected goals in 10 minutes and 7 seconds at 5-on-5. No actual goals. McMahon with an assist on the Nyes goal. He was on for Easton Cowan. Matthews with a team high 8 shots. So basically, how you view this game is how you view things in general. What is more important for Game 3 out of 82? Process or result? The correct answer is process. The emotional answer that a lot of us are feeling is result. Because the Leafs had a very good game against Detroit. Maybe you think the shots were telling lies a little bit. Maybe you think the game was a little closer than that. 40-15 is a crazy result. And it wasn't just score effects because the Red Wings were winning. But the Leafs put on a clinic in how to lose a game you're supposed to win. First period, Leafs are kicking the Red Wings up and down the ice. The Red Wings had 2 shots on goal, and hilariously, they might have both been scoring chances, but generally speaking, the Leafs are running the show on home ice. Great! Penalty late in the period. Riley in the box, and you know how that's going. You know how that's going to go. If the shots were even, I would have been okay. But the shots weren't even. The Leafs were dominating. You take a late period penalty. What does that mean every time? You can ask Ryan from the Winged Wheel podcast because he was kind enough to invite me to the game and I sat next to him even though he was in a smelly Detroit Red Wings sweater. And I said, you know what's coming, right? And he goes, yeah, I do. What I did not anticipate was the delay of game penalty that was originally given to Austin Matthews until they put it on the screen and we realized that's wrong. So they throw in Simone Benoit. Listen, okay, I don't want to miss the point here, and I don't want to distract from the very valid points that I'm going to make here. That penalty sucks. I understand the purpose of the delay of game penalty. I do. But what I don't like is when Benoit is going for the puck that's up in the air, Matthews is going for the puck that's up in the air, someone on the Red Wings was going for the puck up in the air, and the only difference is Benoit's the one who actually got it. Is that the spirit of the rule? Anyway, I could open up my own store. The spirit of the rule, and it gets rid of 80% of delay of game penalty. Anyway, it's 5-on-3. The Leafs had the decency to kill off the 5-on-3, but not the 5-on-4. Detroit scores. Dylan Larkin, it's a nifty backhand because things aren't going right for Detroit, and at the last minute, Larkin says to himself, what do I do best? Oh, I know! I'm gonna dive! That dude's feet are Patrick Starr, and they were all game. Wait! I have an idea.
Really? What is it?
Let's leave! But he used his forces for good on this one, and it's 1-0 Detroit after one, like we all knew it would be the moment the Leafs took that penalty. The second period, more of the same. Generally speaking, the Leafs are the better team. Are any of their attempts going in? No. But through 40 minutes, can I go on a mini rant? Craig Berube is trying to figure out what he wants to do with his lines. He's on home ice. I understand why he went with this line. I never want to see McMahon, Domi, Robertson ever again. Ever again. You want to change the DNA of this team? You will never put that line on the ice again. They need to be sheltered to oblivion, and when they're not scoring, it doesn't come across as cute. Stop doing it! No! Riley's gonna get a lot of stick for this game and for what he did at the end of it and on the last 2 goals of the game, of course. But if we're talking about process versus result, the ones against Riley ended up in the back of the Leafs net. That could have easily been the fate of the McMahon, Domi, Robertson line. There was one shift where they iced it 3 times. What? While you're doing that, we can't get Matthews on the ice, we can't get Nylander on the ice, we can't get Tavares on the ice, Nyes on the ice. It's just you 3. And I thought Bobby McMahon had a very good game, so I'm not screaming at Bobby. And I don't love Domi at center, but I gotta be honest, most of my concern wasn't Domi at center. Things are gonna get late real early for Nick Robertson if he doesn't start doing the little things right. He's a gifted player, great shot. He set up Bobby McMahon for a scoring chance. I like that very much. But generally speaking, it's just more harm than good when that line is on the ice. And I'm long tired of it. The Leafs are tired of it. That's why they didn't want to go into the season with it. I can't, for the life of me, understand why it's still taking the ice. So anyway, the Leafs are out playing Detroit pretty heavily. You want to see something that can't be a goal? This is off an ozone face-off. This turns into a goal. Ah! What? Okay, so it's the Leafs pairing of Riley, Carlo, top pair, second pair, whatever you want to call it. Carlo falls down. That's generally bad. You know who I didn't realize had the puck the whole time? James Van Riemsdyk in his first game of the season after being drafted 18 years ago. Respectfully, you lost a foot race to who? JVR has the hands still, and that's how he was able to bury the goal to make it 2-0. The hands are the last thing to go. I said that when Spezza was a Leaf, and now that JVR's in Detroit, it still rings true. Have a look at Patrick Kane, by the way. The hands are the last thing to go. That is just, it's an insane result from a matchup, a favorable matchup, off an ozone draw that can't end up in the back of your net 5 seconds later. That's insane. That's not how you win anything. How do the Leafs drag themselves back into the game? The little things. Bobby McMahon using Chris Tanev as help, gets onto the ice, gets around a defender. Guess what? Uh-oh, I'm in no man's land with the puck, and Detroit's in a tough spot. McMahon puts a pass on Nye's stick that's so perfect that Nye didn't even really score it on purpose. That's not even a tap in for Nye. It'd be a tap in if he moved. That's essentially a McMahon goal that went off of Nye. That's how nice of a feed it was. Nye, go to the net! McMahon, little shifty move, and the Leafs are on the board. Lots to like there. And Austin is getting more and more stick. I'm seeing more and more grief. He was on the ice. A few minutes later, as the minutes tick off the clock, who's on the ice? The right winger isn't Cowan again. It's also not Nylander. I think these things are purely coincidental, but Austin's on the ice. Nyes has Sandin Pellikka on him, and he spins off and from his knees, between the legs and straight at Callie Yarncroke, snipes it! Mitch Marncroke parries it! His third of the season already somehow. Goal a game Callie Yarncroke is a thing, and it's a tie game. To borrow from Tic Tac Tomar, he's aura farming in the third game of the season. It's Callie Yarncroke. Listen, a lot of us owe Callie Yarncroke an apology. I know it's very early, but it's not just that the puck is going in. He looks good. He looks legitimately good. He's winning lots of battles. He's good on the PK. He's a good skater. Last year, he was hurt, and when he came back, he probably came back too early. It might have been best to just have him sit out the rest of the season and see what else you can do. He's been a good player in this league for a very long time, and one bad season, we were done with him. That's wrong, and we were wrong. Do you know how many consecutive seasons Callie Yarncroke had with double-digit goals, as in 10 or more goals, before last season? 9! He played 52 or fewer games in 3 of those 9. I don't know if he's going to continue the goal-a-game pace, but this is a very capable offensive player with some little perks on the defensive side. This is a useful player not making a ton of money at 2.1. He was worth keeping, and I'm glad they did. Now, here's how you just throw a game in the garbage. You throw a game that was going great straight in the bin. Little over a minute to go. The Red Wings get an odd man rush. Uh-oh, this ain't good. Brandon Carlo's the only one back, which means, where are you, Mo? Where are you, Mo? And Stolarz makes the save. Oh, phew, he gets the save, and now everyone's back. Mo! Morgan Rielly cleared this for an icing. There is no reason for this to be an icing. None. Zero. Ever. What? Look at the pressure. Look at the pressure. What? It's Larkin against you and the rest of the team. Why? Matthews is right there. Oh, Larkin's right there. Okay. Well, Nylander's right there. Well, Larkin's okay. Okay. Go behind you. Go behind you. Carlo's gonna skate that out. You could have skated that out. Look at it! No one's there. Get over the blue line. And then figure it out. Or just go to Carlo. Just go to Carlo. Get to overtime. Get the point. And figure it out after. You got all the momentum. You've been the better team all night. What? You came back in this game. You were down 2-0 in the third. Like, it's fortunate to get a point out of that. That's actually a good result, even if you lose in overtime. And you ice it for no good reason. None! Those are the little plays that kill you. Certainly doesn't help that he was out there when the Red Wings then scored Mason Appleton, the winner, with under a minute to go. Maybe you should have won the face-off. Maybe you could have handled it better after the Red Wings won the face-off. It all comes back to, why on earth are you icing that puck? And I'm being hard on Morgan Rielly because Morgan Rielly was hard on Morgan Rielly. He was hard on himself because he had a bad season last year, and Brad Treliving talked to him about it, and Craig Berube said Rielly, and they're talking about it. They're talking! The first game of the season is one of his best as a Leaf, honestly. He was City TV everywhere, and he had a bunch of shots, and he had the game winner. Some shaky moments in game 2. This cost them the game. This cost them the game. And I'm seeing people go, oh, I wish Austin had Mitch. Austin had 8 shots. They were scoring chances. That had nothing. Cowan set Matthews up for a beauty breakaway that led to a shot that was stopped by Talbot and a rebound that was also stopped by Talbot. A really good save. Matthews got 8 shots in this game and had lots of scoring chances. His problem isn't getting fed the puck, and it's not getting looks. I would happily see Easton Cowan next to him tomorrow. I would happily see that. I think things went really well. He was on the ice for the 2 goals they needed to tie it. People are being way too lazy about all this. Way too lazy. Marner has fewer points than Calle Yarncroke if we're going to play this stupid game. But we don't expect that to stay the same because we're not stupid. Easton Cowan, the young kid in this game, did a fine job. The guy who screwed this up at the end was the longest tenured Leaf. That can't happen. It cannot happen. It's like we let our foot off the gas after one good game. That's not acceptable. That's not how winning teams behave. Listen, there was lots to like about that game. Lots of guys need to pick up their socks. Matias Michelli is trying like hell out there. I still don't know what you are. I still don't know where you fit. But you just lost your job to a kid who played his first game in the NHL, in my opinion. Dakota Joshua, I'd love to get to meet you because through 3 games, I have not. There's a lot to like about that game. I would have liked it a whole lot more if they'd won. And now you have a game, second half of a back-to-back. Yes, it's at home, but you're probably starting Caden Primo in that one. I keep saying there was a lot to like. Is the process acceptable if the result is unacceptable? You can't come out of that game with no points. You can't. The way it was with a minute to go, you cannot come out of that game with 0 points. That's exactly the sort of thing that kills you. Questions. Greg Berube says William Nylander, 3 shots in 3 games, needs to attack more, shoot more, and get to the inside. I don't know exactly what it is, to be honest with you. I'll have a conversation with him, see where he's at, and what's going on. This is even worse because I don't think Nylander has looked bad, and now I'm trying to think of the game that I watched in person, and now I'm trying to think of a William Nylander moment at all. 3 shots in 3 games! Some of the highest paid and longest tenured guys on this roster are letting them down the most. That's a theme, and that theme continues in the absence of you-know-who. Why did Riley ice the puck when he could have just skated with it? I spoke with him after the game and he said to ruin all of our Thanksgivings. 2025 and I feel obligated to tell you that's a joke. Are we happy with the effort after Saturday and just chalk it up to getting goalied, or we freak out and blow the team up? Note, there is no in-between since we are Toronto fans and those are our only options. Yeah, I'm screaming into a camera so I can avoid the Jays playoff game. So yeah, I get it. So this isn't the first game of the season, it's the 3rd. But remember last year, the Leafs got 47 shots on Sam Montembeault and he shut them out. I think it was record-breaking or something like that. And you get shut out on opening night and no one feels good about it. The process was there. We were happy with the process. No one's happy with the result. Well, what happened? It was the first game of the season. What happened? Well, the Leafs won the division. They ended up being fine. But if the DNA is truly changed, that means you're different. You got to show us who you are. So you take some solace in it. And generally, yeah, it's a good process game. The way they lost it was completely infuriating and disturbingly on brand. Knock it off. And anyone on this roster who cannot knock it off needs to join another roster. For now, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. I'm raising money for Easter Seals Ontario. That is a charity that helps out kids with physical disabilities. I am going to tell you that if you donate any dollar amount to me or anyone on my team, Rachel's Raiders, link in the description down below. If you donate any amount of money, you'll automatically be entered to get a pair of Leafs tickets for December 27th against Ottawa. You want in? You want a shot at it? Donate to a good cause, why don't you?